It's a place that allows, for me, it's a place to be perfectly content all by myself or in the company of my family. Ram Dilly, who was totally dedicated to conservation of land and water. And he was the one who found this property.
My grandfather and dad and the whole family really would take car rides and look for places to camp and fish. And one day they were driving up M37 and saw a sign for sale. It was actually an old bean field. And the property was on, the original 10 acres was on the White River, and just knew that that was the place that he wanted. And they started building. They had found plans in a magazine, and the white pine came from the Muskegon Valley, and followed the plans pretty much to a T. Had somebody come in and actually set up camp for the summer to build the stone fireplace, and then started planning replacing the bean fields. It was basically a sand blow, as they would describe it, and started planting trees on the full 10 acres, and then put in a bridge and the wing dams on the river.
You know, from birth, I think we joke that our dad had us planting trees and learning how to fly fish in the womb somehow, because we all grew up at his elbow, learning to fish and taking care of the land and the trees up here. We knew coming up here every weekend that we were going to be fishing, but we'd also be planting trees and cutting trees, trimming trees, clearing trail, putting up fence, and generally taking care of the land and the river, restoring and preserving the banks of the river so that they weren't eroded by rains, because again, they'd been lumbered off. There was erosion taking place with the river filling with sand, so he started planting trees and also placing rocks on the banks of the river to help hold the sand, and started putting in wing dams and trout cover to help not only preserve but enhance this resource as a great fishery.
I think always wanted to have this place, the cabin, really benefit from care and stewardship, and learned over time. He had invited some foresters to come in when the trees started getting big and selectively cut. He took care of the river and learned a lot about planting cedar trees and what kind of water trout really thrived in. They were one of the first, I think the first family that enrolled in the tree farm program. And that was my dad and my grandfather enrolled the property in that, and they had been putting in trees since then. But really, I think that helped both encourage doing that, but also I think getting a little bit of technical expertise as well.
After my dad passed away, or I think it was around the time he passed away, we established with the Fremont Community Foundation, the A. Newton Dilley White River Protection and Restoration Fund, which anyone can contribute to through the Fremont Community Foundation.
It's dedicated to those who want to improve, repair, restore the White River in a way that helps the animals and the species here thrive, and particularly for fish, which was his particular passion.
We all have to do our part with our piece of property in our homes, on our streams, at our cottages. I mean, everybody's got to shoulder up and try and reverse this by planting trees, maintaining streams and creeks and rivers and ponds. Any person can do what can be done on their own personal level to just make little changes, and whether it's taking a reusable grocery bag to the store when you go to get your weekly groceries, or not using plastic straws, or not throwing stuff out the window of your car, catching and releasing a trout. All these resources are too precious to only be used once, and we want to pass them on to those next generations. And that's what my dad and the cabin have been all about our whole lives.
I would really encourage it. I think the knowledge that you gain, it increases your appreciation for the land, your own land, and how you can best steward it. And it's not a hard thing to do, and it gives you so many more tools to think about and use to take care of your land in the way that is best for the land and for your own use of it and enjoyment of it, and can help perpetuate those features that you most love and cherish about your property, and really a worthwhile thing to do.
My generation, Abby and Deborah, our sister, and our hope is that our kids really will care about the place the way we do. I don't think any of us can care for it or about it as much as our grandfather and father did, but I think we hope that our kids will take up the mantle and preserve this place for the generations to follow us, for our grandkids.
I hope that it will continue to be a place that it has been, which is a place that is cherished. Family traditions here, they may not be the same traditions, but I hope it will continue to be a place that family gathers and enjoys one another, and being in a place that they love, and making more memories, and also continuing to be a place of where you really feel in touch with nature and enjoy all it has to offer.
My husband, I don't think he could be happier than when he was up here. It just refreshed him.
Well, I think it's near and dear to all our hearts. I mean, I come up here and I'm just instantly in a better state of mind, as my mom talked about my dad. This place is a real retreat and a refuge, and a place that you come to restore and recharge the battery. Just being engaged with the land, getting your hands on the soil, sticking a shovel in the ground and planting a white or a red pine or a cedar tree sapling in it, and tamping it down, and then seeing that grow over the years. It's just a place that we've been able to have that connection to the land and nature and the rivers and the streams. I mean, none of us is any happier than when we're just wading up the river looking for a rising trout, or fishing, and totally, the world goes away when you're up here.
And I must admit, for a while I didn't want to come up here every darn weekend, but I did, and I loved it too. I gradually came to loving it because my husband this was the place that he wanted most to be, and he was a fly fisherman and loved this river, and I came to love it too.